Hello and a warm welcome back to the channel. And here we are looking at the main layout table, which is sadly devoid of any track because I'm just not able to make my mind up. So I need to get this sorted out. But anyway, let me show you what I've been looking at. I've sort of boiled it down to a few sort of track plans that I'm going to work from. Here's the 3rd edition booklet, which I'm more or less looking at. So if we flick to page 17 and plan 12, that's my first plan that I'm quite interested in. It's a nice plan with a branch line, 2 continuous lines, not pure ovals. I'm steering away from pure ovals really because I just want to build something a bit more interesting. But this is 4 feet wide and my table is 6 feet, so I could extend it widthways and make it a bit more interesting. So that's what I'm looking at. Okay. Now plan 17 is a really nice plan. That's got some interesting junctions, a nice branch line. It's a big plan, but I'm only going to build this once, so I am thinking about this. Now it would mean I'd have to extend my board in width by 2 feet, which is quite easy, and just put an additional 3 feet on the end. Now I did already plan to extend the length, so I've put provision in, so it's not a big job. And as I only want to do this once really and not be fiddling with it, I am thinking about this design. I wouldn't have the centre hole though. I've got several quite nice tools for picking things up and down, and I'd rather just put something interesting in the centre of this layout, like a hump shunting yard or just something out of the ordinary. So that's another one I'm considering. And finally, this is a copy I've just photocopied from the 5th edition, number 18. It's interesting, but I don't know, I'm a bit bored by it. It's just ovals, and I know there's some nice crossovers and elevated section, but I don't know. I'm still thinking that I might just bite the bullet and extend my baseboard and slowly build the plan out, the last plan out of this number 3, plan 17. Let's just have another look at it. There we go. I've had a good look, and I do have everything I need. I mean, the thing about this, there would have to be some modifications because it's designed for System 6, so there's some curve points in there. But they can be substituted with straight points, and I can just move them slightly or just alter the track plan to put the points in a straight section. But I think probably that's the one I'm going to decide on. So I'll have to get some more wood. I don't need too much, and some fibre tiles, which is what I'm going to lay the track on. So I guess that's the next step. So I think we're slowly getting there. Now you might hear in the background we do have a bit of a clock of the week this week. I'm just going to show it to you. Now it's a bit out of the ordinary. I think it's quite plain to see it's Meccano. This came to me from someone who is reliving their childhood a bit. It's not a question of just following the plans with these, they're just so fickle when it comes to binding or just side play or just lining up all the joints. So this is now ticking away quite nicely, and I think the guy's going to be pleased with it. He's going to put it in his workshop. So there we go, a number 1 clock kit from the early 70s, and ticking away quite nicely. So what are we going to look at? Are we going to have some trains? I think so. So the saga of the turntable is never ending. Still can't find it, my Super 4 turntable, but what I have found is this little collection of items. Now this is Triang TT. Now I don't have hardly any of this, but here there's a couple of locomotives, a bit of rolling stock and an oval. Now, as far as I'm aware, the TT sort of ran between 57 and 64, I think I've read. And unlike N gauge, which is 9mm, this was a 3mm scale system, so the gap between the tracks is probably about 12mm. But it's a really nice looking track base. It's a bit like Super 4, half sleeper ends. So what I'm going to do is we're going to shove this all together and see if we can just run these two around and see how they go. So I'm just going to go off camera now and build up this oval, find a controller and see if we can run these two trains. So I'll be back with you shortly. Right, well, we've got the track all assembled. It was quite clean. I've just given it a quick rub over, but it was not corroded. And we've got the Windsor Castle on here with a rake of 3 coaches. I've given it a light oiling. I cannot imagine when this last ran, but it's going quite nicely, so let me show you it go round. As you can see, it's running quite nicely. It's a lovely gloss finish on this loco. And just that slight bit smaller with it being the 3mm scale, so not as small as N gauge, but somewhere between N gauge and O gauge. And that's quite a nice oval, and you can see it takes up no space at all. But this is running and it's getting better and better. Just slow it down a bit. So as you do, I've been thinking about this, and I'm wondering now whether to make a small TT layout and screw it on the wall above my main layout. So just do a, I don't know, end to end maybe. So I could just screw a small baseboard onto the wall and then run a TT up and down, because now I've run this train I really like it. And it's triang. Never had this stuff before, but it's great. It's got the tension lock couplings. I mean, I know there's earlier track. Don't think I've got any of that. It's a bit like the standard track, but it's a sort of milk chocolate brown. I have seen it, but this is the later, more modern TT track. Let's see if we can try it backwards. As I say, it's definitely running in nicely now. Now this doesn't seem to have any magnehension, but it still drives along nicely. Solid wheels, no spoke wheels, but the level of detail is good. A couple of nice metal handrails on the cab of the locomotive, and it's a nice thing to look at. Okay, well, we'll slow this one down and I'll get the 3F on the track. Okay, so that's the Windsor Castle off the track. Rain's beating down on the roof now. Let's see this 3F in action. It's not quite as smooth as the Windsor Castle. Goodness knows when it was last run, but I'm sure it will get better with a bit of track time. But anyway, all these wagons have got open axle boxes, so a little drop of oil really helps. But that's going round really nicely. Now I've put my screwdriver where the uncoupling ramp is, so we'll just see whether we can make use of that next time round. Lots of fun to be had with these uncoupling ramps. Okay. doesn't seem to want to. There we go. Couplings are a bit stiff probably. Right, let's come up to the back of this guards van. Okay, off we go. Yep, rain's really setting in now, starting to get dark, so I think that'll be it for the day. But thanks for looking in. I've really enjoyed running this TT gauge railway that I've found, and I think that I'll be looking on the internet tonight to see just what sort of range there was. Different locomotives, you know, obviously I would imagine there were perhaps different radius, a couple of radiuses of track points and whatnot. But for now I think that's going to be all the train running for this week. I've absolutely no idea what we'll be doing in the next video, so we'll just have to wait and see what we find. It's a busy time of year at the moment, so unfortunately I'm not getting a great deal of time with the models. But I have really enjoyed using these this week, and it's a bit of a revelation to see how nicely they go. So I'll just show you the back of the layout before we go. I've got this brick wall. Now you can see that little bit of CLS along the wall that's not used. That's my provision for extending, so if I do the layout number 17 from that third edition, I can already start extending with the minimal of fuss. And I think along that wall I could build a narrow platform, sort of about 9 inches, 10 inches above this track, and have a little TT end to end on it, which would be quite nice just to see them running backwards and forwards as I operate the main layout. So I think that's another job. That's the trouble with this hobby, you can always think of more things that you want to do. Right, well I'll just try and get that into the camera there so we can watch it go around a few more times. And it's running really smoothly now. A great little loco, so I have to say both the Windsor Castle and the 3F are very nice. So I don't know what other ones they made, but if they all run as well as these, they must have been a nice little system. But anyway, thanks for looking. Hopefully I'll see you next week, and I'll say goodbye.